Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing today? Good, good. Me too. What a great day. I'll tell you, a great job. My name is Nicholas Donahue. I'm the president and CEO of the Nellie Mae Education Foundation. Our offices are in Quincy, Mass., but we're a regional philanthropy. We cover the 6 New England states. We're the largest philanthropy dedicated to education, only to education. Doesn't make us the biggest funder, doesn't make us the most important player, but it gives us a chance to go all over the region. And I love coming to Maine. It's just a great state. So I'm very excited today. Very excited to recognize Derek Pierce for his leadership. Great to be here at Casco Bay. Excited to be in Portland, a partner of the foundation. And as I said, my job takes me all over New England. Lived in New Hampshire for years, spent months, accumulated time in Maine, and at the foundation we just see Maine as a hotbed for progress in education and leadership. And so I just couldn't be more pleased to be here today. I want to start, I'm just going to introduce the program and recognize some folks, and then I'll be back later to make the presentation. And so you're all here for the Lawrence O'Toole Leadership Award. So Larry O'Toole was a founder at Nellie Mae. He helped the foundation come into existence. He helped a lot of other philanthropies come into existence. So he has a real legacy. We're very proud of him. And in his honor, we strategically asked the board to give us some resources to distribute to recognize leadership. It is most importantly an award to individuals for their leadership to support their work. And it's also to shine a light on the kind of things we're trying to promote around the region. I'll say a little bit more about it, but it's way past time to really modernize and reshape education, especially in high schools. I think most of the people in this room know it. There are people in this community who are working harder on it than we ever can at the foundation, but it's really our purpose. We think to move our society forward, really prepare ourselves. We just have to rethink what we've been doing for a good 100 years and reshape it to just be more adaptive and to fit students so we don't have to squeeze them into the box that is school. And they're doing that at Casco Bay. So I'll say a little bit more about that. But I'd like to recognize, and someone will come up later, is State Senator Ann Haskell will be speaking to us later. Representative Richard Farnsworth is sitting to her left. Senator Justin Alphonse is right to her right. Very good. Hi, Justin. And also want to recognize Portland Superintendent Emmanuel Koch. And he's sitting right next to our guest of honor. Ron Berger, who's the Chief Program Officer for Expeditionary Learning Schools, is in the audience. And this is an example of bringing a well-honed model to play and making it better and better. And Ron told me that at I think it was an Expeditionary Learning Summit some while ago, you brought national conference, brought some Casco Bay students forward to speak. And that's part of the program. Speak, use your voice. And I'll say a little bit more, trying to channel some of the young people. And in addition, I think we'll have someone speak her mind here. So with that, I think what I'd like to do is to ask Acting Commissioner Rochelle Tome to come up and say a few words. And Rochelle, as you come up, I want to say that I was the Commissioner of Education in New Hampshire for a long time. So I understand the significance of state leadership. And I know something about Maine, too. And I got to say that departments of ed are not necessarily everybody's, favorite entity all the time. They take a lot of heat. But you couldn't do better than the folks at the Maine Department of Ed. And Rochelle, I just appreciate you stepping up here to speak and stepping up in your leadership role and supporting the state of Maine the way you do. Great. Come on.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Maine Department of Education and Commissioner Jim Ryer, who's currently out on medical leave, we want to send our well wishes and congratulations to Principal Pierce and the entire Casco Bay High School community. Several years ago, our department released Education Evolving, a strategic plan for what our state's school system should look like in the 21st century to ensure college and career readiness for all Maine graduates. Central to that was effective student-centered education with multiple pathways for learner achievement and great teachers and leaders. With its commitment to rigor and relevance relationships and its proven record of activating teens as scholars and citizens who are engaged and energized and empowered, Casco Bay High School exemplifies this vision, and that is in large part to its founding principal, Derek Pierce. Research into what conditions consistently foster high student achievement shows that school leaders matter, and so much has been written about what great principals do differently. One must look no further than to Principal Pierce. He sets clear and high expectations for all students, no matter what their challenges are, knowing they will rise to meet them, because he believes in their potential, and they are able to realize it. He leads by example, respectfully treating students and educators as accountable partners in teaching and learning. And in doing so, he's created a culture that brings out the best of his students, nearly 100% of whom are accepted to college. No easy feat. As well as faculty who continue to be nationally recognized for their innovation and excellence in expeditionary learning. As he remains connected to the classroom, leading intensives, having his own student crew, and being a fixture in the halls there, where he can be found tossing a football, or I'm told, singing out loud. We should plan a duet sometime, Derek. He's definitely a part of what's going on here. As Casco Bay's reputation has grown, so has the size of its student population, which has more than doubled in the decade since the school opened. Principal Pierce still knows the name of every student and remains personally invested in their individual success, even writing many of their college recommendation letters himself. As one parent told the department, he doesn't let kids get lost, even if they want to. Perhaps most importantly, he loves what he does here, as students put it best. One student said, "Derek Pierce is the life of Casco Bay High School, and every individual associated with our school admires him." Under his leadership, Casco Bay reflects the engaging, effective educational experience that every Maine child deserves to access. This isn't just a school. It's a community, one that produces creative, communicative, collaborative, critical thinkers poised for great success in their college, career, and civic life. On behalf of the entire Maine Department of Education, I want to congratulate Principal Derek Pierce. And while he is the one being presented with the Larry O'Toole Award today, and deservedly so, the award is ultimately recognition of everyone at Casco Bay High School for fostering the type of learning community that supports great students and great educators. Thank you for the positive role that you play in improving the futures of Portland students, their community, and please keep up the great work. It is now my great pleasure to introduce another transformational leader who is committed to the success of all students, Portland Public Schools Superintendent Manny Cogg.
So good afternoon. I'm excited to be here today at the Nellie Mae Education Foundation honors Casco Bay High School Principal Derek Pierce for winning its Lawrence O'Toole Leadership Award. The $100,000 grant he has won will go directly to benefiting student learning. I'd like to say thanks to Nellie Mae and its president, Nick Donahue. Derek's win marks the first time Maine has won this award. He competed against nominees from each New England state. And I'd like to say thank you to our community members who supported Derek in the Portland Public Schools, that he ended up with more than 6,000 votes, about twice as many as the second highest person received, and that's quite impressive. It's impressive because Principal Pierce is an inspirational leader who exemplifies the student-centered learning approach we value here at Portland Public Schools. And more importantly, Principal Pierce and our staff at Casco Bay High School reflect the great leadership and teaching and learning that's unfolding across Portland Public Schools in each and every one of our schools. Principal Pierce, as the founding principal for Casco Bay High School, has received national acclaim. I'd like to share with you some of the highlights during his leadership. Casco Bay High School is a mentor school within the Expeditionary Learning Network and is recognized as a national leader in project-based and deeper learning. Casco Bay High School is one of two Portland public schools, and King Middle School being the other, that were featured in a new book just published this past summer. The book is entitled Deeper Learning: How 8 Innovative Public Schools Are Transforming Education in the 21st Century. The book says schools like Casco Bay have set out to transform the experience of learning. Teachers and students bring the concept of deeper learning to life and show what's possible in schools today. Last year, Education Week named Casco Bay High School as one of the 35 high schools across the country and abroad that are worth visiting. That publication said Casco Bay High School was among schools that personalize and blend learning, challenge students with real work, and ask them to show what they know. In 2012, U.S. News & World Report ranked Casco Bay High School as one of the top 10 high schools in Maine. Also that year, Casco Bay won one of the 6 Student Ownership of Learning Awards recently presented to schools nationwide by the Stupski Foundation. So what does it mean, and how does it translate into student success? At Casco Bay High School, each student is required to apply to college, and so far, 97% of Casco Bay High School graduates have been accepted to college. Just last week, in a very public display of that support, Casco Bay seniors marched down Congress Street here in Portland to mail their applications to college as their teachers, parents, and public applauded them. This is the school's 2nd annual March to the Post Office, and it's a way to celebrate our students and their college aspirations. Now, I can go on, but I want to talk specifically about Principal Pierce. Principal Pierce in Casco Bay High School stands out for many reasons. First, I consider Principal Pierce a tribal leader in the sense that he helps make everyone at the school feel like a member of the tribe that has high expectations, the belief that every student will meet those expectations, and a support system in place to ensure that every student gets there. So in conclusion, once again, I'd like to thank Nellie Mae Foundation for making this award possible and for bestowing this honor on our district. And congratulations to Principal Pierce and Casco Bay High School. We all at Portland Public Schools are extremely proud of you. Thank you. And so it's with great honor that I invite next Katie Conley to come forward and share a few remarks.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie Conley. I'm a senior here at Casco Bay. When Mr. Pierce took me aside and asked me to speak at this ceremony, I casually agreed. No problem, I said, probably shrugging a bit. Consider it done. And, you know, he could have just asked me to bring something to the compost or make a photocopy. It was that casual. As I turned from him, my expression morphed from a reassuring, got it all figured out smile to a frightened, deer-in-the-headlights stare. I had to write a speech that articulates how selfless and caring my principal is. A speech that captures his compassionate and bold leadership. A speech that summarizes the countless reasons why he deserves to be recognized and praised for his work. In other words, I had to do the impossible. But in true Casco Bay spirit, here I am, attempting the impossible. Within my first week of high school, Mr. Pierce greeted me, by name, with a smile and a high five. For him, this was just an average, ordinary interaction. But to a scared little freshman, out of her element, it was just the kind of reassurance she needed to know that she was welcome here. When I joined Cabinet later on that year, I at first felt that I was part of some exclusive club. I got to sit face to face with my principal, the big guy who makes all the decisions, and talk to him about how to change the school. That's awesome, right? Well, I quickly learned that this was not an exclusive privilege. He treats everyone this way. He reaches out to us. He has an active influence in our academic life. Not many other students can say that about their principal. And as a student, that's very empowering. One thing that makes Mr. Pierce such an amazing principal is his ability to adapt to unexpected challenges. As you may know, our school has expanded, both in population and in physical space, but the accommodations for serving food have not expanded. The lunch line is unbearably long. So Pierce, being the kind-hearted individual he is, noticed this one day and decided that we could do better. Taking matters into his own hands, he stepped in and with a smile on his face, loaded each tray with mashed potatoes. Not only did everybody get their lunch way quicker than ever before, but as he handed me my tray, he showed me the true meaning of humility. As important and busy as he is, no job is too small or beneath him. And while we're on this subject, let me explain what a typical lunch in the grade space looks like. A long line at the microwave, the occasional hacky sack circle, and a ton of people all competing for airtime in the din of a dozen conversations. But one fateful day, someone played Bohemian Rhapsody on the piano. All conversations tapered as the entire room joined in to the song that we all know and love. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Now, one thing I love about Mr. Pierce is his dynamic personality. As lunch ended, only a few of us remained to finish this epic ballad. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Suddenly, enter Pierce.
Galileo!
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 Galileo, get to class!
He is an anomaly. He's earned the utmost respect of his staff and students, yet never takes himself too seriously. Mr. Pierce embodies the zany attitude of Casco Bay, as well as its determination to change the world. My school has received a lot of attention and improvements over the past few years. Since September, our slogan of choice has been, "We're growing up." Not only have we expanded, but we've been recognized by the expeditionary learning community as a mentor school, both internationally and for the country and even internationally. Last week, my class had the opportunity to go to the National Conference for Expeditionary Learning. We watched 4 peers present about the Hurricane Sandy documentary and service work that we conducted last year in Rockaway, New York. 1,200 people, mostly teachers, allowed us to teach them about how we were affecting positive change on the world. As I listened to my peers speak about how they've been inspired by sharing the unspoken stories of these people affected by the storm, I felt, as I have 1,000 times, so fortunate that I'm part of this community. And Mr. Pierce is the center of everything. Making freshmen feel welcome, lending a helping hand, and daring everyone to do the impossible. Thank you, Nellie Mae, and especially thank you, Mr. Pierce.
Well, now I'm sure we're in the right place. So I want to begin just by saying one more recognition. I want to identify Colleen Quint, is sitting over, and just wave, Colleen. Colleen is a newly elected Nellie Mae Education Foundation board member, and we just couldn't be luckier to have someone, Colleen, helping to steer the foundation, so thank you. And I'd also like to introduce David Ruff, who's the leader of the New England Secondary Schools Consortium and the Great Schools Partnership. He's a Nellie Mae grantee and one of the most significant leaders in New England. You guys get him in Maine, but he has national impact. I was going to embarrass his daughter. What's your name?
Maggie.
Maggie. If you haven't seen Maggie on YouTube, then you got to dial it up because she's fantastic. All right, so I want to say this. The award, as I said, was established for Larry. And he was a very creative person. The great thing about working at Nellie Mae is that you get to push on the edge. He was committed to not continuing to support programs and processes that were just promoting incremental positive changes. He really thought that a foundation like Nellie Mae ought to be about pushing on the edge of things and really helping to support the next things that need to happen. And we are forever grateful for his leadership and support. You heard about it being a contest around the region. It's true. We had 6 nominees. We had nearly 17,000 votes cast. It was fantastic. I think it's not lost on anybody. Part of our effort was to stir things up and get a light shined on different approaches around the region to remind people that we can do better. It just so happened that Derek received, a third of those votes, 6,500. making it, a contest among, learners and community members to get out the vote. And it was very thoughtful, super appropriate, and really demonstrates the kind of democratic nature of the effort that we were trying to promote. The effort itself, as I said, is about shining a light on things. We got some issues in New England and in Maine. We're exceeding 80% graduates across the region and across the country. It's approaching that number. But it turns out that only 50% of kids are really ready for their next stages of learning at a time when having some form of learning after high school is essential. The days are gone when it's just enough for everybody. Now, I say that, people say, what about Bill Gates? Did you know Albert Einstein got kicked out of high school? And I'm like, okay, we're at 99.99%. But who else can we sacrifice? The good news is we're making progress on readiness every year. It's just that by our calculations, the current rate of improvement is about 0.3%. So the good news is our region's going to reach an 80% readiness piece, and Maine will follow along. The problem is it could be 2176 before that happens, and that's too long. So we are promoting and really trying to provoke and initiate efforts and follow leadership that accelerates that change, because we don't have any choice. The welfare of our country is dependent on it, the welfare of the state and the welfare of our communities. And we think that's now more and more an obvious case to be made. So we go out of our way to identify people who are walking the talk, like Derek, who are evidencing this idea that education is not just some private commodity that you purchase because you have more money in your bank account, but that it's a public good, that education is a public good that we should cherish and nurture. And you've done a fine job of evidencing that. Derek will be the first to say, and I assume he will, if not, you're going to be in trouble, that it's not just about him, it's about the other people who work for him. The reason he's in the cafeteria playing the piano is because he doesn't have to be in the office doing something. He doesn't need to be monitoring the restrooms. He doesn't need to be tutoring kids. He doesn't need to be teaching that English class. He's got people who know how to do that. So he can afford, the time to be present as a leader should. You've heard about Casco Bay putting their kids at the center of the experience, helping them and allowing them to be in charge, to take charge of their learning in concert with professional educators. The exploratory model for expeditionary learning is widely known and very positive. Enough has been said about his energy and his strength and his vision. I will share this from some students. David Datum, I hope I got his name right. Casco Bay forces you to step out of your comfort zone, and do things you might never even think of doing. Those are positive things, I'm sure. As says Rita Polly, I came to school broken. I was simply surviving, and school wrapped me in its invisible blanket to keep my strength, my warmth inside. And those are just part of the, powerful stories you hear here at Casco Bay. The change we're talking about sounds like it's a technical one where you move some of the parts and you get people doing certain things and you get them, applying certain practices. And it is essentially that, but it is insufficiently that. It's about a culture you build up, one that exhibits a commitment to equity, to excellence, to participation, where you trust people and you expect the best of them. And that's what Derek's done. Casco Bay is a model school inside of a district that is growing and emerging, at light speed. And that's to your credit, Superintendent, taking big steps. That's one of the reasons we're investing here more fully. It's an example of some of the best that Maine has. There are dozens of schools around Maine and districts in Maine that are making big advances, taking bold steps to really modernize their education. And you guys represent just some of the best that we know of. So it's with that, with a nod to rigor, quality, and equity, that I'd like to invite Derek Pierce to come up and accept our award and say a few words. Oh my gosh! Yes! Right here. I love this part. Come on. Sign that?
It won't fit in my pocket up there.
That's why we made it big.
That's awesome. Wow. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the great words, Superintendent Koch, Nick, Commissioner, and fabulous Katie. Thank you. So within 48 hours of winning the Larry O'Toole Award, I had flipped my kayak twice in the roiling waters of Casco Bay, broke my paddle and nearly derailed my beloved senior cruise quest. Within weeks, I wrenched my ankle playing squash while trying to survive but 5 minutes against a younger, wiser opponent. In fact, since winning this award 3 months ago, not only have I lost or failed in every single athletic contest I've been involved in, I have done so with ignominious gusto. Our family football game at Thanksgiving was canceled for the first time in 40 years. A week later, I double faulted at set point in 3 consecutive sets. Our faculty kickball team has been slaughtered and then clobbered each week. My beloved sports teams, the Giants and the Knicks, have been dismal, especially if I'm watching. Clearly, this has all been karmic payback. The O'Toole curse. And I have deserved it. The gargantuan, outsized good fortune that led to this great honor had to be compensated in some small, humbling way. And so today, I hope to end my pathetic curse by expressing proper gratitude for all who led to this moment. First, I want to thank my wife and daughters for loving me no matter what. And when dealing with me, there can be an awful lot of what? Related to the O'Toole vote, I want to thank our team, and many are here today: Shanda Turner, Maureen O'Brien, Marianne Lloyd, fabulous parent, fabulous Katie Conley, fabulous Maggie Roof, her mom Jane Wellahand, for finding ways to be innovative, fun, effective, and relentless about getting out the vote without being too annoying. I also want to thank all of the unofficial precinct captains, from alumni parent Janet Rathbun to my college buddy Dave Schenk, who nudged and sometimes bullied friends and friends of friends and friends of friends of friends to vote. I also want to thank all the waitresses in Southern Maine who voted for me after my mom harangued them while eating in a restaurant sometime during the month of September. Truly, I want to thank the Nellie Mae Foundation for garnering immense attention, resources, and wisdom in support of student-centered learning. Your support of the work and of Portland has been transformational. And I genuinely feel like I am in the 1% of the occupationally fortunate. I work and live in the city that I adore. Thank you, Mayor, wherever he may be. There he is. Thank you, Mayor. My wife and I both work in a school district that has done a terrific job of educating our children. So thank you, Superintendent and school board members and Portland Public School folks. And I am buoyed in my work every day by an inspirational national organization, Expeditionary Learning, that has helped to model the way for achieving rigor with meaning and joy. So thank you, Kippy and Ron. And oh yeah, I love my job. I love working with Casco Bay families, the parents and caregivers who share generously of their time and expertise in supporting our work and partner with us to bring out the very best in their children. I love our faculty. They are as great to one another. Yes, give it up for the faculty. Yay! They are as great to one another as they are to their students. And their collective and unified commitment to achieving excellence in their craft and in helping students to do the same in both scholarship and citizenship is spectacular. And finally, I love Casco Bay students, so I thank you to my crew. You make me learn and laugh and think hard and feel hard. In the last week, the senior class presented at a national conference, as you heard, about climate change, as well as parading down Congress Street to celebrate and be celebrated for each completing a college application. Yesterday, the sophomore class cheered wildly as a cross-section of their peers presented compelling grant proposals about how to keep Africa rising and best expend the $2,500 they raised. Today, when the winner of that competition was announced, kids spontaneously raised him up in arms like the greatest football captain achieving the greatest state championship you'd ever seen. There is no place on earth I would rather work. And so, there is no more joyous task than deciding how to spend $100,000 to further student-centered learning at Casco Bay High School. After significant deliberations, here's what we've decided to do. Between 2015 and 2018, $50,000 will be allocated to scholarships that ensure that all Casco Bay students, regardless of family income, can continue to participate in our most transformative educational experiences: Freshman Quest, Junior Journey, and Senior Quest, even as we expand. $25,000 will be dedicated to supplies and equipment for a new maker lab, such as 3D printers, a laser cutter, and a CNC router, so Casco Bay students will have more opportunity to explore, design, invent, experiment, create, tinker, fail, and try again through STEM learning opportunities. And we hope to have that in place before the end even of this year. $10,000 will be set aside for equipment for our new fitness room, like rowing machines, to address one of our greatest needs, keeping our students and faculty well. And finally, $15,000 will be expended. I see Jake's nodding on the fitness. He's like, I'm going to get bigger. I like that. Finally, $15,000 will be expended over the next 3 to 4 years for micro grants to help students actualize promising plans for addressing local needs. Whether that means funding a new intensive spawned by these seniors in their senior expeditions, or making a freshman's Sustain Me proposal a reality. We will introduce this grant process early in 2015. So once again, thank you. Thanks to Leslie and Kiara. Yes, there you are. Thank you for putting this all together. And to Katie and Nick and Manny and Mayor Brennan for being here, and Commissioner for joining us today, for your generous words, for our state representatives and state senators for being here, and for your words and and thanks to my literal and figurative crew for this epic honor and opportunity. I can't thank you enough. Actually, I hope I've thanked you enough to at least break the curse, but because we got one final kickball game tonight, and I'm holding out. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and have a great afternoon, or something happens after this. I'm not sure.
Take care of it.
All right, he'll take care of it. Thank you. Thank you. Whoa!
Great. So a few more parts of the program. At this point, I would love to invite State Senator Ann Haskell up with Representative Richard Farnsworth and State Senator Justin Alpha.
You're very welcome. First of all, there's now another medical crisis that you didn't mention, and that is the sprained right finger from all the clicks. How many times did you get a Facebook page from somebody or a message that says, make sure you go online, make sure you go online? And really, I mean, it's getting sad now. But that was a tremendous effort, and it only shows how much this community is involved with this school. This is not a school with a closed door and an unknown mission. I will tell you that this school is a heartbeat of this community, and so critically important. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so pleased to be here today with my colleagues. To add to that, the congratulations of the state. We have a very formal presentation of a legislative sentiment for you, which talks about all of the things that we've already heard about the first time that a citizen in this state has received this award, and how much it means to us at the state level, and particularly for those of us who come from Portland and who represent you, to be able to go up there and say to those other schools, well, I don't know what we're going to do, I don't know how we're going to do that, and we say, take a look at what we're doing in the city of Portland, and throughout the city of Portland's schools. But this is a shining example of the way that things can be done, should be done, and will be done. I'm going to tell you, across the state, if we have anything to say about that, we're going to be talking this up. I would also tell you that all of us have experienced the call from somebody at Casco Bay. Senator Haskell, we're thinking about coming to Augusta. Would you like to be able to put something together for us? Sure, we'd be glad to, but we would be glad to. I am so excited when I have students come up. I've stood as a speaker pro tem in the House and had students debating issues, not issues that don't matter, issues that matter, with such a depth and passion that it truly blew my mind. And it became one of the ways that every time I get a call from Casco, I would say, yeah, when, and when would you like us there? So congratulations, and thank you so much for all you're doing for our kids and for our community.
officially recognized.
Thank you, and thank you for your service. I'd like now to invite the Mayor of Portland, Michael Brennan, to say a few words. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm sorry for being late. And you know why I was late? Why are you ever late for school?
Am I ever late?
I don't know, are you?
You asked the wrong person.
Well, I do that on a regular basis, but I stayed up too late last night with my friends on the city council. And we were out partying too much last night, and I stayed up too late, and as a result, I was late getting to City Hall this morning. So I know none of you ever make that mistake, and that you're always on time for school, and you're the great example for that. Anyway, thank you all for being here. And you know, I could fill up this room. In fact, I could fill up this whole building with books, research paper, and epiphanies on what makes a good school. And they tell you all kinds of different reasons of what goes in to making a successful school and having better student outcomes. But you know what all that research would end up telling you? It all comes down to good teachers and good principals. It's not the size of the school. It's not how good the building is. It's not the facilities. It's not how much money you have. It's how good the teachers are and how good the leadership and the principals are. And that's what you have here at Casco Bay High School. You have great teachers, you have great principals, and you have a great school, and as a result of that, you have a great learning experience. And you know, I've told people this before, my aunt, she taught for 44 years. She was a Maine Teacher of the Year in 1968. She did not miss one day of school in 44 years. Never absent, never took a day off in 44 years. That's how dedicated she was to her students and to the art and science of teaching. And you have that here with Derek Pierce. Now, the one thing I'm going to do next time if I run for mayor again, I'm going to hire Derek to be my Facebook coordinator. And I'm going to reach out to voters and get votes in ways I've never done before, because I'm going to use Derek to make that happen. But the other thing I wanted to just say very quickly, and this is more to the students. When I ran for mayor, nobody ever asked me what my SAT score was. Nobody ever asked me what my grade point average was. In fact, nobody even asked me if I graduated from college or graduated from high school. What they wanted to know was, could I get along with other people? Do you listen? Do you problem solve? Are you willing to take on big issues to make our community better? So I hope and I trust, because of the great leadership of Derek and of the teachers, that you understand there's a lot more to learning and being successful in life than what a test might show or what a grade you may receive. And believe me, there's a lot more, and if anybody did look at my SAT scores or looked at my grade point average, they may not have voted for me for mayor. But the poet Yeats, he said, "The purpose of education is to light fires, not to fill up buckets." And the great thing about Casco Bay, about Derek, and about the teachers, they light fires. Hopefully they will light your fire and your passion, and not just to be here to fill up empty buckets. And let me tell you how inspiring you are. Last Friday, I was with you when you walked down Congress Street to the post office. And standing next to me was one of the most conservative and one of the most rough and tumble business people in the city of Portland. And I turned to him, and he had tears streaming down his eyes. because he is so inspired by the young people walking to the post office. And that is what Casco Bay High School does for this community. That's what Derek Pierce does, that's what the teachers do, and that's what you do, and that's why I'm proud to have you be part of this community. Thank you.
Great. So we're near the wrap up. I just want to say again, thanks to our elected officials. A wonderful job, sometimes a thankless job, sometimes a job where you take a lot of heat. And the reality of the kind of change we're trying to promote is that it is a public effort that depends on your leadership and support. So I just thank you for your effort and your endurance and your persistence in leading in very challenging times. I know you all know you have great jobs, but it should not go without saying thank you. I'll wrap up by saying this. We're here to recognize Derek and Casco Bay. We're funders in Portland. There's a lot going on. They are leaders of an effort that Maine is serious about. So these changes are achievable across your state. It's achievable in Machias, you can do it in Madawaska, you can do it along the St. Johns River, you can do it in Franklin County, you can do it in New York, you can do it anywhere. And these folks are just a little bit ahead, and they're not the only ones, but they're significant enough. So I just want to encourage people to say this is a very exciting time in Maine and nationally for the future of education, and you guys should just be very proud about shining a light forward. I'll wrap up by reminding people, who knows what Dirigo means? Dirigo? What does it mean? I lead. State motto, for the Mainers in the room who didn't know. About the state motto, I'll read something. It resolves adopting the seal upon which the motto appears. As the polar star has been considered the mariner's guide and director in conducting the ship over the pathless ocean to the desired haven, as a center of magnetic attraction, and has been figuratively used to denote the point to which all affections turn, and as here intended to represent the state, it may be considered the citizen's guide and the object to which the patriot's best exertions should be directed. And I would say, Derek, that you're a patriot, because education is an object to which the state's and the public's greatest exertions should be directed. And you're evidencing that direction and that exertion, and you model it for everybody around you. So thank you from Nellie Mae, thanks from your friends, and just thanks for being who you are. Thanks, folks. That concludes the program. Please hang out, enjoy some refreshments, give this man a hug, and sing a song. All right.